Hello, we're going to do a yoga practice suitable for the morning. So firstly, let's sit in a nice cross-legged position. Feel free to place something under your sitting bones to give you a little bit more lift. So thinking about making the spine nice and tall. Let's just take a moment to place our hands in prayer and start to tune into our mind, tune into our breath. Breathing in, breathing out. As you breathe in, think about getting a bit taller in the spine. And breathe out, think of releasing some tension, relax the shoulders. Good, and let's start to rotate the shoulders back. Inhaling, exhaling to release. Good, so nice and gentle, especially if this is a morning practice for you. And the other way, inhaling, lifting. Always breathing when we do our yoga practice. Good, and let's gently come to center and mobilize our neck. So shoulders down, looking to one side and the other. Just observing how your neck feels today. Good, and then we're going to come forward like we're hugging ourselves and then opening up, breathing into the shoulder blades, opening up. Good. Slightly retracting the shoulder blades, squeezing them together as you come back. Good. Excellent. And then we're just going to gradually start to reach up. So each time, maybe reaching a little bit higher, so thinking about creating length in the spine, drawing the belly in slightly. Good. And then we're going to reach to the side, so nice and small to start with, inhaling to lift, and getting a nice stretch in the lateral sides, the sides of the waist, keeping the hips nice and rooted. Breathing, notice how you breathe, that can help us stretch a little bit more. Good, back to center, and let's just inhale, raising our arms up. Exhale down, good. Inhale, back, good, light energy, and then exhale down. Good, inhale and exhale. And let's do some gentle torso circles. So nice and small movements to start with. Good, you can make the move as small or as large as you like. And then the other way. So you can close your eyes, really feel into your body. And see if you can enjoy the movements as much as possible. So not making the move too big, if that gives any discomfort. Good, and then back to center. So you're going to come onto all fours now. So if you need any padding under your knees, you could use a blanket. Give the knees a little bit more support. So let's just quickly rotate the wrists a little bit. Make sure wrists are nice and mobilized. Excellent. Then we'll come into all fours, everything nice and stacked, hips over the knees, shoulders over the wrists. Draw the belly in, keep the neck nice and long so we're not hiking up the neck or dropping the neck. So nice steady foundation. We'll come into a little bit of a rocking movement. So back and forth, just getting a little bit more weight in the wrists. So almost coming into a half plank and then coming back almost into a child pose. Good. Draw in the belly. Breathe. Good, and then back to center. We'll come into some cat-cow, so nice and gentle, tipping up the buttocks, letting the belly drop, the chest rises. Exhaling, push through the mat, drawing the belly round the back, let the head drop. Good, so going one vertebrae at a time. Close your eyes. If that helps you, really feel into the spine. Breathe, especially into those areas that feel a little bit tight. So go at your own pace, making any modifications you need. Always work within your own range of motion. Good, and then back to center. We're going to take the right leg out, so get some length in that leg. So we're just rocking back and forth, so feel the calf muscle activating and warming up the feet. Good, and then switching sides. So keeping the belly nicely drawn in. Keep the neck long. Good, and then we're going to do the same with the right leg and just lift the leg up and down. So start to feel like you're activating the back of the leg and the buttocks. Good, and if that feels okay, we can try balancing with the opposite arm and then hold that position. So one straight line. Breathe. Good, and then we're going to bring the knee to the elbow, or as near as possible. Good, so inhaling and exhaling. Good, drawing in the knee, warming up the core. Good, and then place that foot back down. So now making the left leg as long as possible, just rocking forward and back. So waking up the feet, the calves, drawing in the belly. Good, and then we're just going to lift that left leg up. So keep the hips square, the hip points pointing down to the mat. And see if you can feel the back of the leg, the buttocks, the buttock muscles working. Good. Bring that leg back down. Now lift the leg up and possibly the opposite arm. So it's like someone's reaching for your hand and your leg. Nice straight line, hips pointing down. Good, and then we're going to bring the knee to the elbow, or as near as possible, that's right for you. Good. Inhaling, exhaling, draw the knee in. Good. Inhaling, exhaling. Good. Then let's have a rest in child pose. So sitting back, your buttocks on the heels, so your knees can be nice and wide. Your hands can be in front, they can be at the side, or you can rest your forehead on your hands, or even use a block here, or a block between your legs. Use this as a rest pose, so really breathe into the back of the body now. Feel like you're opening up the back of the body, your lungs, breathing, really expanding the back. Exhale to release. Good, and then slowly coming back up. Remove the cushion or mat. So we're just going to come into our downward dog now. So think about spreading the palms nice and wide, tuck the toes, and then pushing back, heels lifting up. So keep your knees bent. Think about creating length in the spine. So bending your knees and straightening your legs a few times. Good. Breathe. Excellent. And now we're going to slowly walk the feet towards the hands. Keep the knees bent and stay in a forward fold, so ragdoll. Bend the knees. You can clasp the elbows, gently sway. Good. And then uncurling the spine, slowly, one vertebrae at a time. You can use your hands on your legs to come to standing. Roll the shoulders back. And then coming to the top of the mat in our Tadasana. Good, so finding that equal distribution in your feet, rocking forward and back till you find your center, lifting up the toes, bringing the arches back into the feet. Hands in prayer, let's tune into our breath again. So ideally breathing through the nose and out the nose. Ujjayi breath, like the sounds of the ocean. And see if you can keep this breathing throughout the next part of your practice. So when the postures get a bit more intense and our breathing starts to increase, we can keep our breathing steady by breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Good. Good, and let's inhale up and then exhale down. Good. And here we can set an intention for the class as well. So if you have anything for your well-being, feel free to set that intention. Breathe it in and then breathe out any doubt. Good. And now we're going to inhale up. Exhale, come into a forward fold, so bending the knees as much as you need. And then inhale, we're going to come into a halfway lift. So flat back, rolling the shoulders back. Exhale, forward fold. Good, bend the knees. Stepping back into plank. So we can come into a full plank or a half plank. Nice straight line. Engage the core. Head nice and in line with the spine. Lower the knees and then hug the elbows in as we come down. Good. And then we can either come into Sphinx pose, so our elbows in line with our shoulders. Any pinching in the back, we can widen the legs or come down lower. Take a few breaths here. Good. Hands under the shoulders. Push back into downward dog. Good. So pedal the feet if you like. Shoulders away from the ears. Nice steady breathing. Good, and then we're going to walk the feet up towards the hands, back to our halfway lift, flat back, exhale down, and inhale all the way up. Good, slight back bend if you like, exhale down. You do that one more time, hands in prayer, inhale, raising up. Exhale, forward fold, bending the knees. Inhale, flat back, roll the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, forward fold, stepping back into our plank. So either full plank or half plank. We can either lower the knees and then hug the elbows in, Mum. Or we can come straight down into our chaturanga. Good. And then pelvis grounded, legs nice and long, either coming into our Sphinx or baby cobra or more full cobra. Exhale back down, pushing back into downward dog. Pedaling the feet, finding more length in the spine, bending the legs and straightening. Good. Then walking the feet back up to the hands. Inhaling, flat back. Exhale down, inhaling all the way up. Good, and then exhale down. Then we're going to come into a moving chair. So inhale, exhale, weight in the heels. Good. So just getting a bit more movement into our legs, weight in the heels. Draw the belly in, just like we're sitting back in a chair. Can make the move as small as you like. Good. Exhale. And then one more forward fold all the way back down. Release the head, the neck, sway if you like. And then uncurling all the way back up, back to Uttanasana. Good. And then we're going to step the right leg back into our warrior one. So hips facing as much as we can this way without making the hip feel uncomfortable. Think of our shoulders being square to the mat. Nice parallel tracks, so you can have our hands in prayer, knee in line with the ankle or raising our arms up. Few breaths here in our warrior one. Good. So using that ujjayi breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Nice expansive open feeling in our warrior one. Good, and then bring that leg back in, then changing legs. So stepping the left leg back, find your grounding of that back leg, knee in line with the ankle, keeping the shoulders square, hands in prayer or up. Good. You can also cactus the arms, inhaling, exhaling down, breathing. Good. Inhale, exhale down. Inhale, exhale down. Bring that foot back, hands in prayer. Excellent. So now we're going to face the front of the mat. Let's loosen off the hips a little bit. So nice hip circles from side to side. Small bit of bending here, preparing for our warriors. Hands can be out. And then a few hip circles. So to make sure our joints are nice and warmed up. Good. Bit of balance with our ankle rotations as well. Excellent. So we're going to have a nice wide stance, as wide as comfortable. Getting that connection with our feet first in our standing postures. So hands on hips. Going to open that leg, bring that back leg in, and just get that feeling of the warrior that's right for you. So bending and straightening, weight evenly distributed on both legs. Good. So then we can have our arms out, gazing through that middle finger, our drishti. And then we're going to press through the feet and come up, and then exhale down. So just feel your range of motion. Start small, we can always go deeper. Good. Inhaling, exhale to ground. Inhaling, exhale. Good, and then we'll just switch to the other side. So back leg in, get that outer edge of the foot nice and grounded. Front knee in line with the ankle. So first of all, just start to feel into your warrior. Feeling like you're using the strength of your legs. So torso's nice and aligned, we're not leaning forward. Good. And let's just inhale and exhale. So working through your own range of motion, always best to start smaller, see how the muscles, the joints are feeling today before you go deeper if you want to. Good. Then back to center, just release the hips. And then we'll come into our triangle. So slightly shorter stance. So we come into our triangle, the front leg is straight. And let's think about that top arm, so we're not rolling forward. We can prepare by keeping both sides of the waist nice and long. So we're tipping over, the front hip is coming this way. So try to avoid doing this. Better to stay at the top range of motion. Good, and then we'll hold our triangle, so you can have your hands here, or you may raise the arm up. Hold for a few breaths. In through the nose, out through the nose. Finding that steadiness and ease in your posture. Good, and let's press through the feet to come back up. Let's shake the hips off. Then come to the other side. So back foot nice and grounded, pressing through both our feet, lifting up. So let's just start to work into the posture to start with. Keeping the shoulders nice and back. Good, and then the front hip comes in as the back hip finds a bit more space. So you can stay here, raise the arm up, or come a bit lower. You can always use blocks if you like. Give you a block. So you can always have a block here. Think about your breathing. See if you can find some steady breaths. We know when the posture's a bit too hard for us because we forget to breathe. Good, and then press through the feet to come back up. Good, let's just release the hips a bit. And then we'll come into a little warrior flow. So finding your warrior here. You may be able to go a bit deeper, you may not. Stay with what's right. And then coming into our reverse warrior and then into our side angle. Good. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. Really think about pressing down through our feet. When we engage that front heel, we might feel that buttocks engaged to help us out a bit. Good. Then back to our warrior. We're going to straighten the leg and then come into our triangle again. Good. Then back up. If you want to try a bit of a balance, we can bring that leg in slightly and then come into a floating half moon. Good. So when we come into our balance, have that playful attitude. As long as we're safe, you can always hold on to something if you need. If you're more used to half moon, you could always try with a block and notice those wobbles. Good. Excellent, then bring that leg back down with control, back to warrior. Excellent, and now we'll repeat on the other side. So let's flow between all the lovely warrior postures. Warrior 2, reverse warrior, find that opening and that grounding in warrior 2. Inhale, exhale, let's come into a side angle. Good. Warrior 2, reverse warrior, side angle, both sides of the waist, nice and long. Use that leg strength. Good. Inhaling, exhaling. Good, and then straightening that front leg, coming into our triangle. Good, so always using a block if that helps, or staying further up. Good. Then we're going to bring that back leg forward, come into our floating moon. So we can keep the movement small, we can always hold on to something. Or if you're more used to doing half moon, you could always try using a block. And observing all the little wobbles your body makes, getting those new muscular connections going. Bring that foot back down into our warrior. Good, well done. Release the legs. We'll come into a nice forward fold, so we can also use blocks. We could stay at the top range of the motion. So engaging our feet, engaging our legs, lifting up, hinging at the hips. Can always hold on to something. We could use blocks, or if you have the flexibility, let the body release over those strong legs. Think of increasing the exhale. Good. And then pressing through the feet, walking the feet in a little bit more can help. Hands can come on the hips or the legs, drawing in the belly to come up. Let's inhale and exhale. Brilliant. And now we're going to come down to the mat, so let's go through by inhaling, exhaling down. Just come into a nice forward fold, walking our feet back into downward dog. Maybe having a three-legged dog, if that feels good for you, especially if you have enough room. Good. Then lowering the knees, and let's have a rest in child pose. Maybe letting the hips go from one side to the other. Or walking the hands to one side and the other. Good, rolling up. We just come into a few stretches. So if you feel that your back has that tendency to round when you're in a seated position, placing something under the sitting bones can help to give you that lift. Good, so we're going to bring one leg in. You can always put a block under the knee or keep the angle not so acute. Grounding the sitting bones, the extended leg. Going to lift up here. Could always use the strap. If you're feeling quite a strong stretch here, stay here. If you want to fold, think of inhaling to lift and then exhaling to fold. Good. Think about longer exhales to release the body. Good. See if you can relax the face and the jaw. Inhaling and exhaling for even longer. Keeping the foot active, so engaging the quad of the extended leg can help to open up the hamstring. And then bringing that leg back in, switching sides. Good, so finding that lift first, inhaling to lift, and then exhaling to fold, only if you want to. Or you can stay here, you can use a strap, a dressing gown, belt to give you that lift, and then fold only if that's available. As long as you feel a little stretch, a comfortable, almost comfortable stretch, find your edge, but no straining. Good. See if you can relax the jaw, relax the face. Inhale and exhale for even longer. Releasing any tension. Anytime you want to break, come out of the stretch. And then bringing the hands back up. So we'll come into a twist. So drawing that leg in here. So we can stay here if that's enough. Or we can come into a twist. So inhaling to lift, exhale to gently twist, always looking down if you have any neck issues. Inhale, find length, exhale, twist, breathe. Good, and then changing sides. So hugging the leg in, finding length in the spine, and then stay here or come into a twist. Inhaling, lift, flexing the foot. Exhale, twist. Good, then bring that leg back down. Let's just loosen off the leg slightly. Good, and then come down to the mat. You can place something under your head. We'll just hug one knee in. And then the other knee. And then if you want to come into a hamstring stretch, you could always use a strap. Good. So you can stay here, or you might be able to gently slide that leg down. Check how this feels on your back and the back of your leg. Breathe into that stretch. Keep the chin nicely tucked in to create length in the neck. Breathe. Good. And then remove the strap and then come into a figure 4 stretch in that leg. So we can stay here, flex both feet, or we can catch the back of the thigh or even the shin. Just feel a stretch in the hip that's opening, but it shouldn't feel painful. Breathe. Good, and then switching sides. So firstly, let's come into that hamstring stretch, using a strap if you like, on the ball of the foot. Draw in the belly slightly. Feel the stretch in the back of the leg. If you're quite flexible and you want to bring the leg back down, or just an inch at a time, see how that feels. Breathing into the back of the leg, relax the face. Good. Feel the ground underneath you supporting you, so you can start to relax a bit more into the stretches. Good, and then we'll come into a figure 4 stretch. Flexing both feet, just feel that hip opening. If that's enough, stay here. If you want more, catching the back of the thigh, keeping those feet flexed, or the front of the shin. Breathe, keep the chin tucked in. Good, bring that leg back down, just windshield the legs from side to side. And finally, we'll just come into a relaxing type of bridge. So Knees in line with the ankles, feet pressing down, palms facing down. Just slightly start to tip the pelvis one way and the other, so just getting a bit of freedom in the back. So really gentle pelvic rocking. See if you can then get to that neutral spine. Palms facing down, press through the feet, and we're just going to gently peel the hips up, just a small amount, and then bring them back down. Press through the feet, engage the legs, maybe peeling up a bit more, and then slowly coming down. And one more, pressing through the feet. So either staying here or maybe interlacing the hands. So pressing through the arms, engaging the core, pressing through the feet, then slowly exhale to come back down. Hug the knees in once more. So you can either rock from side to side or come into a happy baby. Gentle rocking. Good. Or anything else you need to just before we have a couple of minutes of relaxation in Shavasana. So feet can be extended or you can have them wide apart. Knees can knock in constructive rest. You can place a blanket over you if it's a bit chilly. Good, so a few minutes of relaxation. Start to feel the ground underneath you. So you don't need to use any muscular effort now. Just take a few minutes to relax. Start to feel the weight of your body's nice and heavy. Breathing nice and steadily. Just allow the feet to open, the legs to feel nice and heavy. Letting the hips feel nice and relaxed. Breathe into the belly. Breathing into the chest. Allow the shoulders to open. And the arms feel nice and heavy. Allow the neck to soften. Allow the jaw to relax. Soften the eyes. Let any tension evaporate from your brow. And just sense some space around your mind. As you watch the thoughts just like clouds. And seeing that blue sky behind the clouds. Breathe in harmony throughout your body. And release anything you want to release. I am peaceful and I am relaxed. And just let the whole body surrender. And now gently wiggling the toes, the feet, making any stretches you need. Good, and then coming onto one side just for a few moments. And then using your hands to help you up. Just find a comfortable seated position. Back to being grounded. Lengthen the spine, hands in prayer. And now thank yourself for your practice today. Well done. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.